looking for Curlin as usual to try to get that inside shot. They lob it into him, right side of the key. He spins, hook shot is good.
All right, it's taken out by Parker. Parker throws a long one into the left side. They feed it into Stilt, and it's tapped away from Stilt, and we win 54-53. North Carolina did it.
In the corner. Houston
with 6 seconds left. Into Walton. He can't score. Cernovich fires. Gilbey. It's all over.
It is one of those fantastic moments in sports history.
No team ever was as disciplined on the basketball court as Al McGuire's clubs at Marquette University.
Left to play. Goes back to Michael Jordan. Jumper from out on the left. Good! The Tar Heels are going to win the national championship.
On a crisp afternoon in early December of 1891, Dr. James Naismith invented basketball. There were no breakaway rims or 24-second clocks. Instead, this 30-year-old physical education teacher at the YMCA training school in Springfield, Massachusetts, had created a simple game. He attached peach baskets to the railings of the balcony at the opposite ends of the gym. He had also scribbled down 13 rules, including 9 players to a side, baskets counted for a single point, and a jump ball after every basket. The new game of basketball was a success from the second the first ball was tossed up into the air. Word quickly spread that something new was going on in Springfield as spectators flocked to see Naismith's creation. Said Dr. Naismith of his game, and I quote, "I had in mind a tall, graceful, and expert athlete, one who could reach, jump, act quickly, and easily," unquote. If one didn't know better, it would almost seem as if Naismith was describing the players of today. Measured in national championships, no school in the history of college basketball can approach the success of UCLA. Between 1964 and 1975, the Bruins were unstoppable, winning 335, losing 22, and bringing home an amazing 10 national titles. Behind this greatest dynasty in college basketball stood one remarkable man. His name, John Robert Wooden, the Wizard of Westwood.
Coach John Wooden was so good that in my run to the Roses, in 10 years of my career, we used to fight for the second best. And the reason I like Coach Wooden is that he won 9 championships in the NCAA. That way, instead of disliking 9 guys, I only disliked 1 guy.
His records will be there forever. Nobody is ever going to match him. And he was a great coach, great gentleman, and boy, what a credit he was to the game of basketball.
John Wooden first grabbed the attention of the basketball world as a 3-time All-American guard at Purdue University in the early 1930s. Under the guidance of head coach Ward Piggy Lambert, the tough, aggressive Wooden was instrumental in leading the Boilermakers to the 1934 national championship. 14 years after this accomplishment, John Wooden accepted the head coaching position at UCLA and set about the task of turning Westwood into a winner. In 1964, behind the backcourt combination of Walt Hazzard and Gail Goodrich, the Bruins defeated Duke by 15 points in the NCAA Finals to cap an undefeated season and earn the school's first championship. With no starter taller than 6 feet 5 inches, the 64 Bruins utilized a devastating full-court press along with a dynamic team chemistry.
They complemented each other very well in the different things that they could do. Goodrich is a great shooter, Hazzard's a great passer. Hazzard had to be fired up to something. I had to be at times critical of him to get him mad at me. If I'd get Goodrich mad at him, he'd go in a shell. Well, you learn that about their different personalities. Erickson was a highly spirited competitor, but a great athlete. Jack Hirsch was no one can analyze Jack Hirsch. The group complemented each other exceptionally well.
Returning only 2 starters from the 64 team, Gail Goodrich and Keith Erickson, the Bruins repeated as national champs in 1965. In the finals against the University of Michigan, Goodrich played one of the greatest games in Final Four history, burning the Wolverines for 42 points in a 91-80 UCLA victory. In the winter of 1964, the whole country was talking about Lou Alcindor, a 7-foot-tall New York schoolboy. Alcindor, now known as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, was such a force at Power Memorial High School that NBA coach Gene Shue said of the 17-year-old phenom, "I'll trade 2 first-round draft choices for him right now." After more than 100 college scholarship offers, Lou settled on UCLA. That fall in Westwood, Alcindor's freshman team with Lucius Allen, Lynn Shackelford, and Kenny Heights previewed the future in an intra-squad scrimmage against the varsity.
We played them our first game of the year was the varsity freshman game, and they're ranked #1 in the country, and we beat them by 15 points. And so it ended up that they were ranked #1 in the country and #2 on campus.
People would ask about it and said, well, what do you think about the freshmen actually beating them in an inter-squad game? And I said, well, it's tremendous. It just has me looking ahead with great pleasure. It made the future look mighty bright, I'll tell you.
Bright indeed. Beginning in 1966, with Alcindor in the middle, the Bruins would win 88 games and lose only 2 in the next 3 years. When the curtain finally closed on the Alcindor era, UCLA had become the first school in the history of college basketball to collect 3 consecutive national championships. After Alcindor's graduation in 1969, UCLA was expected to return to the ranks of mere mortals. Much to the dismay of the competition, this was not the case. With a front court of Curtis Rowe, John Vallely, Steve Patterson, and Sidney Wicks, the Bruins won 57 games in the next 2 years and added 2 more national titles to their trophy case. Following the graduation of Wicks in 1970.